Okay, let's be honest. The villains of Splatoon's hero mode have never been the greatest, and of course by villains, I'm really just talking about DJ Octavio. We got a bit of a mix-up in the Octo expansion with Tartar, and there has to be something up with Mr. Grizz. There are so many possibilities, and I'm here to go over some of those possibilities. Starting off, we need to talk about Octavio. DJ Octavio being the villain again would be, to put it plainly, disappointing. I really doubt he will be though, especially with the fact that he was already revealed in the trailer, and the fact that he's standing alongside the new Squidbeak Splatoon in the promotional art we got for hero mode already. Most people are thinking that he might team up with the new Squidbeak Splatoon at some point in the campaign, especially because why would Octavio make his own people contaminated by the fuzzy ink? Maybe it makes them more powerful or something, but that just doesn't align with Octavio's motives. According to Nintendo, the fuzzy ink makes people lose their sense of self, and Octavio wouldn't do that. Although he is a villain, he isn't a bad guy. But if you look at it from a different perspective, he's kind of justified by his motives. There's not a lot to go off of, but if he does team up with you in the new hero mode, it really seems like they're going to stop simplifying Octavio. He has so much potential to be a good villain with his motives and just how he thinks and what he does, and Nintendo has just been locking that away. They've been making him a very generic villain, even though he isn't a generic villain. Octavio has depth, and I'm hoping that in the new game, Nintendo shines a little bit of light on that. I really don't think Octavio is going to be the villain. Now we have to go over Mr. Grizz. I swear that most people truly believed he was the next villain. Nintendo gave us a few hints with the Save Our Samus tweet showing off Little Buddy and even the reverse Grizz collab from the trailer. But Salmon Run is coming back. This seems to point to Mr. Grizz not actually being the new villain, since why would we be helping the villain? There'd be no point in that, right? Well, some people believe that we will play as an entirely different character as we enter Salmon Run, maybe separating the agent in story mode from the actual player character in online. This way, we can still defeat Mr. Grizz, but enjoy the gameplay of Salmon Run. I can't say I expect this though. Yes, I wished for Mr. Grizz to be a villain, but that just doesn't seem super likely, as I believe New Agent 3 is still going to be the online playable character. And it's possible the reverse laugh was just Nintendo reusing sound for a different purpose. They reuse assets all the time in games, so it wouldn't be the first time. Especially because if it was just Mr. Grizz, there'd be no real point in hiding it. It does seem like a kind of Nintendo thing to do, but I think if they really wanted to hide something, they wouldn't just show off a reversed version of Grizzco's laugh, as it's pretty iconic. Mr. Grizz is most likely not the new villain. I feel like most people now agree that this actually isn't a bad thing, including myself. Waiting for Grizzco to become even more powerful before truly revealing themselves as evil would make them a lot more interesting. Sure, I wanted Mr. Grizz to be the bad guy, but I am cool with waiting if it lets them build power and become even more threatening in the future. Tartar could possibly come back, and I can honestly see a lot done with this. I talked to a few guys in the comments before, and some really good ideas were tossed around by you guys. Thank you a lot. Maybe all the ink wasn't cleaned up in the last battle somehow. Maybe Tartar has a backup stash of ink somewhere. Maybe he has a backup file for himself. He isn't dumb, and he seems like someone who would have a plan. Kamaboko may have disappeared, but that doesn't mean it's gone for good. There's not a real connection to Tartar yet, other than the fact that the fuzzy ink is similar to sanitization and the fact that it makes you lose your sense of self. Tartar was the first example of a real villain that we had seen. He isn't simplified just to make the game easier to appeal to everyone. He was a huge step in the right direction for the series. I feel like Tartar has real potential to return. Maybe he can look similar to some of these Octo expansion art book designs that they have of him. I love these so much. They're really cool. It doesn't have to just be Tartar though. It is possible that another one of the professor's inventions went awry. I feel like there could be many things done with that. The professor is brilliant and he has made many things. Maybe there's something else we know of that he's worked on though. Judd. I feel like I've glossed over this, but Judd, or maybe Lil Judd, could end up being the villain. Lil Judd has always wanted to take over Judd's job, but imagine how hard it is knowing that you are just a clone. That cannot feel great. It also seems like a very Nintendo thing to do, to reveal the villain and just be like a little cat. A part of the trailer even shows Judd being involved in some sort of research. Maybe something happened to them or something is going wrong. It is also possible that Inklings are just trying to learn more about him though, because I mean, that would make sense. Now, Pearl and Marina. Maybe after losing the Splatfest, something happened to Marina. Maybe she was kidnapped, maybe she ended up in the wrong crowd and turned back to her old ways. Alterna does seem pretty futuristic and advanced. Marina is extremely good with machines and tech, so it is possible. example. Pearl could also play into this. She could perhaps be some threat in the Splatlands while Marina is in Alterna. That fits the Chaos versus Order theme pretty well, actually. Maybe a fight between the two split them up. Maybe they were hypnotized. There's so many ways for this to happen. I would really like to see Pearl and Marina in some shape or form, but I'm not sure if they're really going to end up being the villains. I don't really believe that, but I think it would be a pretty cool way to incorporate them in the new game. Agent 4 or 8 really don't seem likely to me. They're just the player character in Splatoon 2, and even though I want to see more of them, villain form doesn't really make a ton of sense for them. Agent 4 is supposedly more chaotic, but I really doubt that they're the new bad guy. It just doesn't really fit very well in my opinion. Maybe they have something to do with Salmon Run or something, but I'm just not sure. That leads me to my next point though. What about an inkling? Just an inkling. Maybe a character who knew about mammals and was desperate to bring them back. Maybe they went mad with experiments and ended up capturing Octarians to use. Maybe they were the ones who collected research of Judd in the trailer. Maybe they were the ones who collected research of Judd in the trailer. Maybe an inkling manipulated by some sort of outside force. Honestly, I really want this. I don't want some crazy villain, but just a regular old Inkling. I think they'd be able to make it interesting, as maybe they didn't go by Inkling Society laws. Something happened to them. Maybe they removed the limiter and now just go crazy like Sanitized Agent 3 did, making them an actual threatening boss if that were to happen. It is silly, but I think this would open up the most creative potential for the series. Maybe the villain could know what they're doing is wrong, but pushes on for the sake of research. Maybe it got out of hand and they aren't even in control anymore. There are just so many ways this could work, and I love thinking about this specifically. Now, there are many more theories, but that's just what I'm going to talk about for now. But we also have to understand one thing. We've only gotten like 3 trailers for the game, and only one of them really talked about the story mode. It is a bit early to start guessing about who the villain's going to be, but I still think it is fun and a really good just thought experiment. I'm not saying that any of these are going to happen, and most likely they aren't going to happen, but it is just really fun to get the gears turning and talk about this. Of course, this is all just speculation, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. If you guys have any ideas for villains, or you want to add on to stuff I said, 100%, I would love to talk about this with you guys. Please comment. I love doing this so much. And also, I got shouted out by Rassicas, and I got a ton of new subscribers. Hi, thank you guys so much, and thank you Rassicas. It really means a lot for me. When I saw that you recommended me on your community page, I literally freaked out. I started like screaming. Definitely one of the highlights of my YouTube career so far. It really means a lot to me, and I thank you so much for it. And I thank all of you guys too. I even say this at the end of all my videos, but I appreciate all of you guys so much. You are all so nice, and just, I love talking about theories with you guys. It is just, I love this so much. Thank you all for allowing me to have this much fun. You guys are awesome. Sorry for being gone for a while. I do attend college and I have a job as well, and they ended up taking a lot of my time recently, even though I really wanted to make a video. I have a lot of videos planned. Hopefully I can get them out for you guys. Please stay tuned. I appreciate you all. Have a good one.